Right, hello folks, it's John Courtnidge, and since this lock-in, lockdown, lockout seems to be continuing forever, I'm going to make about half dozen, perhaps a dozen, short videos to explain the plan for cooperative socialism. There are already some videos up on YouTube and also a recorded interview which my Quaker friend Tony Gosling made. So, cooperative socialism is a plan to replace capitalism and all other forms of totalitarianism. We've never experienced a full world of cooperative socialism. I think that it will be an intermediate step onto even better things. I happen to be a Quaker and a Christian, but this plan for cooperative socialism, which is the contribution of many voices over the past 25 years, is entirely secular, but I'll try and put some of my own thoughts about my Christianity, Quakerism and panentheism, in other words the creator present within the creation. So capitalism uses only five mechanisms: theft, rent, interest, profit, and unequal pay for work. You can remember the acronym TRIP UP: theft, rent, interest, profit, unequal pay for work, up. Let's deal with the number one issue, because without this nothing is soluble. And that's the question of what the thieves who have stolen economic resources call ownership. The ownership of economic resources. Not the ownership of your own odds and ends that make your life bearable, perhaps even enjoyable. But I'm talking here about the theft of land, which delivers rent, the theft of the law. Thanks, Rob, get a job at Occupy for this one. The theft of the law, which provides interest, the theft of knowledge, which provides profits to shareholders, and finally the theft of position, which is paid for by the common purse, which provides higher than equal, higher than just and higher than fair pay for work, and also pensions, and very often even early pensions and other perks. The diagrams that I've included in those YouTube videos will help with this, as is the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives reader on cooperative socialism, which is in the interestfreemoney.org website in the papers section, www.interestfreemoney, or one string, .org, interestfreemoney.org. So what does cooperative socialism suggest as an alternative to the ownership of economic resources? And by ownership I mean not only ownership by those that seek rent, interest, profits and the tax that's used to pay those unequal payments for paid work and pensions, but also the idea that the state or society or the community or even a cooperative should own anything. Well, the idea that's come forward in my conversations many years ago with my fellow Quaker socialist Godric Bader is that we need to replace the whole concept of ownership, and the best alternative that we can come up with is the idea of careship. And since that will be done in a cooperative way with respect to the cooperative values and principles from the International Cooperative Alliance, and more on that in the section on work, then the idea is of cooperative careship rather than ownership by a group of shareholders or a family or an individual. Again, I'm talking about the ownership of economic resources, the resources that can provide for our well-being and good health, including the good health and well-being of all of our co-inhabitants on this planet and the planet itself. So the idea of cooperative careship is that an individual as a cooperator or a group of individuals as a cooperative would make an agreement with a local or national cooperative to take care of some particular economic resources for a specified period of time. They would not be able to transfer that to someone else. Their use and care of that economic resource would be for the common good, not for themselves as, say, a group of workers who have managed to enclose a particular economic resource, but rather to care for it. Now, there is already a concept called a fully repairing lease, which means that if, for example, you take on the lease of a farm and its buildings, at the end of the lease, when you come out of the lease rather than go into the lease, the condition of the farm and its buildings, the fertility of the soil and of standing crops like trees and so on, would be assessed by a land surveyor, and the land surveyor would decide whether the outgoing tenant had exploited the land and its resources or left added value in those land and resources. I'm not quite sure how the financial side of that carries on, but as we'll see, money increasingly will be less used in a society which is operating according to the principles and mechanisms of cooperative socialism, but that's for another day. So in this first of, as I say, half a dozen or a dozen videos that I'm making from late January 2021 onwards, which hopefully someone will transcribe and put onto our dedicated website for cooperative socialism, www.co-operativesocialism.org. Next time I'll deal with the second of the mechanisms. If you remember, they were theft, rent, interest, profits and unequal pay for work. So the second of these is the theft of land and all that goes with that, including the collection of rents. But more of that when we speak the next time. Thank you.